Is it essential that everyone should undergo a period of asceticism in order to attain Nibbana? Simple questions. Ascetic life. Before his enlightenment, the Buddha was known as ascetic Gautama because he practiced this for 6 years after his renunciation. In India, every existing religion encourages and advises people to undergo some sort of asceticism or ascetic way of life. To them, there is no renunciation without asceticism. So when you study the attitude towards this practice amongst the other religions, Hinduism, yes, every school of Hinduism encourages to practice ascetic way of life. Christianity, only Catholics. In early Christianity, when you study, you can see a lot of ascetic practices. Now they are reducing, and all the other denominations in Christianity do not concentrate on ascetic life. Islam also does not encourage ascetic life. But there is one particular sect in Islam called Sufism. They too practice some sort of ascetic practices and concentrate on meditation, maintain some sort of renunciation, but not very popular. In Malaysia also I have seen very few, but not popular. Then the Buddhist attitude toward ascetic way of life. Although Buddhism was originated in India, amongst all the other existing religious denominations, the Buddha did not emphasize or highlighted ascetic life as the most important aspect for a person to be religious or to be pure or to find out final salvation or nirvana. That is why his teachings or the dharma or religion is known as middle path. Middle path means not to go either for asceticism or indulgence, mortifications and indulgence. Avoid both. Then it is called middle path. But some people cannot understand what this middle path is. In the first sermon, Dhammacakka Sutra, Deme bhikkhave anta pabbaditena nasevitabba yochayang kamesu kama sukhallikan yogo hino gammo pothujjaniko anariyo anatta sanghito. This is the way how the Buddha has explained the asceticism that people practice by torturing their physical body. He did not encourage or acknowledge these practices which are more essential for a person to be religious or to be pure, if not to attain nirvana. Again, Kama Sukhallikan Yogo. At the same time, not to indulge too much, not to enjoy too much, not to devote time, their whole life, just to please their senses, to provide requisite to entertain, but not for their survival. Certain things we regard as necessities because they are important for our living, for our survival. But there are many other things which are not important for our living, but just to entertain. And this entertainment can mislead us, can neglect all our duties, responsibilities, and the purpose of life. Then in the end we will become slaves to those entertainments. This is the danger of it. So, if you know how to lead a moderate way of life by taking normal food and dress and shelter and transport and certain cultural practices which are important for our human emotion. If you go beyond that, then slowly you go on violating so many moral codes, then get into immoral practices, get used to them, then neglect, then forget your human dignity, responsibilities, then abuse your human intelligence. This is the danger. What is happening all over the world today, that people have gone beyond this limit. They are now struggling, fighting, quarreling, killing, disturbing others, not for their survival, but to gain something, some power, authority, income, worldly thing for their pleasure. This is the advice. So, ascetic way of life, when we analyze the way how they practice at that time, we can understand that they actually have forgotten that they were human beings. Because they believe by behaving like animals, eating like animals, sleeping like animals, walking like animals, and by following certain other methods that which create lot of disturbances, physical torture, mental torture, but they introduce these practices as religious practices. The more you torture your body, the more you torture your mind without allowing your mind to enjoy anything, then the more easily you can find out your salvation. So after practicing all these traditional ascetic practices, the Buddha realized. But these practices never contribute anything to gain enlightenment, to gain wisdom. He wanted to gain wisdom and enlightenment. So these practices could not contribute to culture or to train to develop his mind. Then he told, not necessary for you to undergo any kind of ascetic life, to be religious, to practice a religion, to attain your final salvation. Then what is the difference between renunciation and ascetic way of life? So after their renunciation, they completely cut off their worldly life and change their way of life, their food and way of eating, way of sleeping, way of talking and way of doing things completely change. And then slowly they get into ascetic way of life. But the renunciation introduced by the Buddha is not like that. It is pure renunciation just to detach our crazy attitude towards worldly things that we have taken very seriously for our entertainment, for our happiness, for our prosperity, at the same time which gives us enormous worries, sufferings, responsibilities, mental disturbances, insecurity, because of these attachments that we develop. So when once we renounce, cut off these bondages that we maintain as our property, then 1001 problems, worries, disturbances that we are facing at the moment completely disappear. Now this is the advantage of renunciation. But this renunciation we cannot do at once. Must do with understanding. When you study certain stories, in Jataka stories and Dhammapada, at that time in India, according to their way of life, it is not very difficult for a man to give up everything suddenly and go away. A married man who got his wife, his children, his property and business and everything. But at once he can give up everything and goes away. But the society was such, there was nobody to condemn him. But people appreciate. Look at that man. He had the courage to give up everything at once. Now he is leading a religious life, a monk's way of life. He has renounced everything. But there is nobody to condemn that he has neglected his wife, his children. That was the nature of that society 2,500 years ago. But today, the family bondages, responsibilities are interrelated. Interrelated means depend on each other very strongly. Therefore, it is not so easy to give up at once. Not only your family members, outsiders also pass remarks and condemn your attitude. Nobody appreciates at once. And this is the mentality or way of life in the modern society. That is why I told you, if anybody wants to renounce, must consider very carefully where are the responsibilities, and after fulfilling all the important responsibilities, then you can make up your mind to keep away. Otherwise, people say you run away, you escape from family life, your responsibilities. There is nobody to appreciate. When Prince Siddhartha, as a married man, husband, father, renounced, there was nobody to complain. Even his wife also did not complain. But today, according to their way of thinking in the modern society, people cannot tolerate it. Now they are criticizing. He is a cruel man, irresponsible things. How can he just give up his wife, young wife, and newly born baby and kingdom? This is our way of thinking. But at that time, even his wife thought it is my duty to give him moral support, cooperate by following his way of life. She also changed her way of life, not to enjoy, not to use jewelries, not to entertain too much, by following husband's way of life. That understanding was there. So now you can understand the Buddha's attitude. He also advised the monks not to accept or accommodate anybody, whether young or old. There is no age limit for that. If anybody come and tells that he or she want to become a monk or a nun and want to renounce, not to accept this person at once without studying, observing, whether he is under somebody, under parents or guardians, whether he is married or whether he got boyfriends or girlfriend, whether he is indebted to others, whether he is serving in the army, whether he is a criminal who has committed a lot of offences, whether he is trying to run away from all those things. So simply, we cannot ordain anybody at once. We have to study all these things. If he is clear from all these problems and responsibilities, then can accommodate. These instructions were given by the Buddha. So renunciation and asceticism, actually these are two things. First we renounce, but we can maintain this renunciation, this way of life, without practicing asceticism, ascetic way of life. That means without going to extremes, without torturing, by leading very simple, very humble and normal way of life. So, it is not compulsory and it is not the most essential Buddhist practice for a person to attain final salvation or nirvana. Next one, will there be a time when all the beings in the universe would have attained Nibbana? Now, that means there are all sorts of living beings, not only human beings. So according to Buddhism, there is no salvation for them until they attain nirvana. All of them must attain nirvana one day. This belief is very clear in Mahayana school. There are various sutras, not only living beings according to Mahayana sutras, even plant life also, they say, because they have accommodated plant life also as some sort of living being. Therefore, one day, all these living beings and plant life also must attain nirvana. Mahayana school. And they also mentioned in their sutras the bodhisattvas, those who have completed all their perfections and duties and qualifications to attain nirvana. Without attaining nirvana, they wait until each and every living being and every plant attain nirvana. This is in Mahayana schools. But when you refer to the original teachings of the Buddha recorded in Tripitaka, it's very difficult to support this belief. There are two difficulties. First thing, the original teachings of the Buddha never support the idea that plant life also one day become some sort of human beings like to attain nirvana, because it is mentioned amongst the five senses, among the four mental faculties, we can find only one in a plant life. All the other mental faculties are no more there. That means never appear, never exist. So we cannot accommodate them as fully developed life. But life processes and feeling, some sort of feeling they also experience. But other mental faculties you cannot find in plant life. Second thing, it is incomprehensible, unimaginable for us to believe that one day all these living beings must attain nirvana. And the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are waiting until each and every person attain this nirvana. Impossible to believe. Whether it is true or not, impossible to believe. When we consider the nature or the formation or the situation of the universe, I think those days when they started to record these stories, their knowledge about this universe was very poor. As Bertrand Russell mentioned in his book about the creations and the beginning of the world, he says, many religions try to tell us that this world was created by so and such time, given the period also. But there is another religious teacher who never mentioned this, that there is a beginning and the world was created by anybody and such time. He is the Buddha. Because he knew what this world is. Therefore he did not say this world is created by somebody. But those who said that this world was created by somebody or God, proof very poor understanding capacity of the world. He says, poverty of their imagination. These are the words that he used to say that this world was created by so and such time. In the same manner, when they started to record this thing, that all these living beings and the plant life in the whole universe, not only in this small globe where living beings, human beings exist, what about the other world system? In Anamatagga Sutra, Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha says, Anamataggoyang bhikkhave sansaro pubbā koti nipanyāyati avidya nivaranānaṁ sattānaṁ. This is the Buddha saying about the world and the universe and the sansara. After studying, observing, analyzing and realizing the nature of the universe through his enlightenment, the one who got enlightenment to understand, because he is known as Loka Vidu, one who knows the nature of the whole world or the universe, knower of the world, Loka Vidu, the Buddha. So he is the one who explained Kamaloka, Rupaloka, Arupaloka, three kinds of world system in this universe: sensual world, fine material world, immaterial world. Kamaloka, Rupaloka, Arupaloka. So we know only about Kamaloka, sensual world, where human beings, animals and devas exist, experience pain and pleasure both equally. We are belong to this particular. We know only little bit about the sensual world, but our knowledge about fine material world, Rupaloka, and immaterial world, Arupaloka, actually we have no knowledge whatsoever, because our mind is not capable enough, not advanced, not developed to understand the nature of other world system. For anybody in this world to find out the beginning and the end of various universes, not only one universe. When certain universes appear, change, decay, disappear, and various other universes exist, when one world system appear, exist, decay, another world system appear, exist, going on changing and changing. Galaxies, stars, suns, moons, all these things appear, exist, change, decay, disappear. So where is the beginning? Where is the end? After their disappearance, destructions, all those dispersed particles, energies, gravity, again slowly get together. This is the nature of the world system. That is why there is no beginning nor end. Formations again take place. Disappearance also take place. So in the whole universe, so various world systems, galaxies, planets appear, exist, disappear. Again, in one galaxy, how many millions of stars or planets are there, if you can study? Amongst those millions of galaxies in one particular area, how many planets are there where certain living beings exist? Not human beings. Different forms of living beings. People never thought, never had an idea about this world system at that time. When the Buddha mentioned this earlier, people could not digest, could not understand what he was talking about. So it has taken for more than 2,500 years for people to understand. Yes, definitely there must be some sort of living beings in certain other planets. Astronomers strongly believe that there are living beings, not only in this small globe. Why only in this particular globe, Earth? Do you know anything about the world system, the nature of other planets, the atmosphere? Of course, they have landed on the moon. They did not see anybody. Sun, of course, impossible. No living beings can exist in the sun. Now they are trying to land on the Mars. They believe there must be some sort of living beings, but they are actually nearer to us, visible. But how many invisible planets, galaxies, universes, suns and moons are there? In one particular sutra, Satta Suryodgamana Sutra, when the Buddha said, when the destructions take place here, in this small planet, what will happen? 7 suns slowly come nearer to this earth. And then the whole area, this globe, turn into ashes. People did not believe, because they can see only one sun there. We have got 7. Today, without any controversy, astronomers have discovered, they have seen There are so many suns. Is there anybody in this world who can deny this? That is why the Buddha is called knower of the world. Now all these things are going on, rotating, changing their position. So in time to come, when these suns, more and more suns also, come nearer to this earth, it is quite possible and reasonable that this will turn into ashes. It is natural, not created by any god or any devil. All these are natural occurrences. And this is not the end of the world. I told you this is a small globe where there are few, very limited number of living beings exist. To us, very big. But when you compare with other living beings, you can understand. Now what about the other world system? We do not know anything about other world system, the nature of their existence, what sort of living being exists in other world system. Again, the duration of their existence. Here in this part of the world, the limited or the maximum lifespan now go on down to 70 or 80. But according to World Health Organization, the maximum average is 45 or 65 average. But this one goes down and down and down and down, I told you, up to 10. In the Buddha's teaching, in Chakravarti Sihanada Sutra, the Buddha has mentioned how this goes down and down and down according to our way of life. It is true, 100% correct, nothing to argue. Our food, our dress, our shelters, our way of life, our medicines, and our thoughts, our character, our temperaments, our attitude, our way of thinking, all these things are contributing every minute, every second, either to promote or to reduce. Why? More and more new sicknesses that people have never heard in this world appear. In time to come, these sicknesses become very common. Now we can ignore completely about heart trouble, blood pressure, diabetes and various other sicknesses, but concentrate only on this AIDS, very common, especially in America and Africa, and spreading here in this part of the world also. How many new sicknesses that we cannot find even the names for various sicknesses. All these new sicknesses appear according to our way of life, our thoughts, our poisonous thoughts, our wicked and cruel thoughts, our crazy attitudes in our mind. Every minute we are going on poisoning our glands, our brain cells, our organs and hearts and blood, going on poisoning. Then various kind of sicknesses that we have never heard. Again, the food that we eat, all sort of rubbish. How we color them, what sort of chemical we add into them to preserve this food. And recently what happened in Perak? How many innocent children died? So this situation, no one can stop. Whatever we preach, whatever we write, never stop. Because human beings are crazy for money. Money, nothing but money. They may die. They may ready to die tomorrow if they can make money, that's all. That is the main purpose of their living. They can cut each other's throat very easily if they can get money, nothing but money. So how can we maintain healthy, peaceful, happy life in this world? All are crazy. So bluffing and swindling and cheating others, very, very common. Everybody is planning to bluff the other. That is a part of their life. So, our lifespan also goes down and down and down and down according to this kind of evil thoughts, wicked and poisonous thought, and the food and daily routine. People have no time to sleep at night. Even up to midnight or 2 o'clock or 3 or 4 o'clock also they are eating on the roadside. No. Is that the way of human life? And look at all the other animals. They have proper time to go for searching their food and eating, either daytime or night time. After that they go and relax. They have enough time for that. But we are all busybodies. We have no time to relax, no time to sleep, all the while going on eating and enjoying and learning, practicing, following immoral, wicked, harmful, dangerous things. This is called development, progress of the mankind. Wonderful, modern, scientific, educated people. Religion also there. Just to pray, finish. Go and do any kind of dirty thing. Religion also there. Now you can understand where we are. So, what will happen? In other world system, their way of life, animals' way of life, when you study very carefully, we can understand they lead a natural life according to that particular area, particular planet or atmosphere. But we are violating everything, polluting everything. Air pollution, water pollution, and food. But others never pollute all these things. They follow, they live in accordance with their nature. And we do not know that we are responsible for all our problems. And we are also going on destroying all the other innocent living beings, thinking they are nuisance to us. Destroying. And destroying all the other creatures, thinking they are harmful for our vegetable, for our food and fruits and flowers. Destroy using poisons. And these poisons again we eat. Spraying and funny type of sicknesses we had to face because of that. But those days, when you study the life of human life a few hundred years ago, they had their natural food, natural vegetable, natural fruits, everything natural. Water also natural, no chemical there. So they could manage to maintain some sort of contentment in their life. But today, the more we discover, the more we develop, the more we cannot satisfy. We have no contentment at all in our life. We are crazy, we must have this, we must have that. Then adopt any kind of crooked method. But in other world system, they follow the nature and their lifespan, few hundreds, few thousands, few 2,000 years. They can lead their natural way of life. But we are digging our own grave. The main reason is given by the Buddha in Aganya Sutra. You never study all these things. You come and say, people says, that's all. People says. In Aganya Sutra, the Buddha says, how all these wicked, cruel, harmful, dangerous things started in the man's mind. How did he learn? Who taught man to be cruel, cunning, dangerous, selfish, wicked? Of course, other religions very easily say devils influence them. That is the only answer that they can give. We are so innocent at the beginning, but devil appeared and influenced us to be bad, selfish, crazy. We are so innocent at the beginning, but devil appeared and influenced us to be bad, selfish, crazy. And then we have become sinners, and very easy for them to convert us. This cock and bull story they have made in order to convert innocent people. They are sinners. You are sinners. Who created them to be sinners? In Aganya Sutta, remember this. After the destructions of this world, when the formation takes place again, all those living beings who were here on this earth reappear, rebirth taken place in various other world systems according to the gravity of their own karmas. Remember this. Every living being, they remain there for a long period. This is the nature of the world, the life process. When the formation has taken place, slowly, one by one, they come down. Because they have their own craving, attachment that they have developed when they were here. This is gravity. When they depart from there, rebirth, existence, again take place here. But the first group just arrived here, not after they are dead, settled down here. They started to develop population. Then rebirth started to develop, increase, male and female, more and more appear. But this is not the beginning. This is not the beginning of the world. This is not the beginning of the life. Reappearance. Reappearance of the existed world system and reappearance of the living beings who existed earlier. This is called samsara, going on rotating. Those who have developed, accumulated more and more good karmas, especially a spiritual side, a spiritual development further and further, and develop more and more, then find out their salvation without returning, without coming back to this mundane world. But many others who have more attachment, craving towards the worldly life, again existence take place in various world systems where living beings exist. So how can we find out a day when all these living beings attain nirvanic bliss? Because each and every person maintains different degrees of their own karma. And it is impossible for another person, either Buddha or Bodhisattvas or God, to come and save all of us and send to nirvana. It is not practical at all from the Buddhist point of view. The Buddha never preached this kind of thing. Again, remember what the Buddha has said. After gaining his enlightenment, having seen the mentality, the understanding capacity, how their minds were deluded, clouded with superstitious ideas, concepts, belief, and most of them are dullard. Minds are dull, cannot grasp anything. Formerly, before his enlightenment, he could not understand the mentality. Then he thought, although I am going to reveal what I realized, can these people understand? Do they appreciate? Am I not going to waste my time? This is the mentality of individual. Then how can a Buddha or Bodhisattva or God save all these people at once, those who maintain different mentality, different degrees of mental attitude? By knowing this situation, the Buddha says, each and every person must work individually. This is the practical way. You had to work for your salvation. I had to work for my salvation. Another person cannot give my salvation. But those who realized how to gain this salvation can guide you, can tell you what to do and what not to do. This is the only thing Buddhas or Bodhisattvas can do. So this belief that one day all these living beings attain nirvana is not practical, impossible, when you study the different mentality, way of life and the nature of the mind. But attainment of nirvana is not confined or monopolized by any particular group. Say Buddhist, if we say only Buddhists can attain nirvana, others never get the chance to attain nirvana. If we think like this, we are wrong. To attain nirvana, to experience nirvanic bliss or final salvation, this religious label is not the important thing. You can say you are Buddhist. Some others say they are Christians and Muslims and Hindus. Another group say they have no religious label. You can forget all your religious labels. But there are common religious values. They are not belong to any particular religion. So whether you are Buddhist or Christians or Muslim, though you can forget these labels, if you uphold these good qualities, virtues, knowledge, understanding and purity, there is no difficulty for you to attain nirvana, whether you are Buddhists or Christians or Muslims or Hindus. The Buddha has mentioned this clearly. So don't depend on your religious label. Don't depend on your religious authorities. Don't depend on your God or Buddha for your salvation. You have to work. When you work for that, you gain. But the enlightened religious teacher like the Buddha can guide you, tell you how to gain this. That is why the Buddha is important. Some others say, if all of us attain nirvana, what will happen to this world? There is nobody to look after. Yes? Therefore we will stay back to look after this world. Let others to enjoy their life. Otherwise this world becomes utter wastage. This belief is like this. I have given this parable. Supposing in a hospital, in one particular ward, there are 100 patients who are suffering from one particular sickness. And a specialist who come from another country, who discovered a wonderful medicine to cure these sicknesses, come and tell you, don't worry, I have discovered very effective medicine. If you take my medicine, within 1 week, I can send you home, all of you. I can cure your sicknesses. Then definitely majority will agree. Then some of them may think, now if all of us go away, what will happen to these doctors and nurses and attendants? Jobless. They become jobless. Therefore we will stay back, allow others to go home. So that belief is exactly like that. Those who want to remain in this world, to look after, to attend to this world. Another one, how does Buddhism prove that the mind is the primary factor of the universe? Amongst all these religions, I can say, Buddhism gives very important responsibilities for our mind to perform. That means to use our human mind properly. Saying, mind is responsible for everything in this world. That is what he asked. Mind is responsible for everything. So when we analyze this word, it's very difficult to understand. It depends on how we analyze the world. Mano pubbangama dhamma mano siddha manomaya. Dhammapada, first tenses. So mind is the forerunner. The mind is responsible for good and bad, everything that which exists in this world. Sayings of the Buddha. This is bad. Who created these two words? human mind. If there is no human mind, there is nothing for us to point out this is good, this is bad. So this definition is given by us according to our own experience. Again, these definitions also change from time to time, country to country, and according to our taste, our necessities, good and bad. If there are certain problems and troubles and difficulties and sufferings and worries and disturbances in this world, who have created all those things? Think for a while. Of course, due to our ignorance, we say, God creates all these problems, devils or ghosts or spirits create these problems. That is our ignorance. All these problems that we are facing today were created by human mind, not by others. We can escape from others. We know how to escape from animals. We know how to escape from devils or ghosts also. But we cannot escape from human beings. On the other hand, there are so many good qualities, virtues, kindness, compassion, sympathy, generosity, understanding, harmony, cooperation, all these good qualities. Where can you find all these good qualities? Only in human mind. That is what the Buddha says, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. All these things are dharma. Dharma means all these good things and bad things. And many of those occurrences and incidents also take place because of our mind, good and bad experience. So mind influence others' mind, others' way of life, either to experience peace, happiness, security, or insecurity, worry, disturbances, or suffering, created by the human mind. That is why it is necessary for us to train this mind, to tame this if it is wild, cultivate this mind to accommodate such virtues. Then we can contribute for others also to live happily, peacefully, without fear. At the same time, we also can maintain some sort of satisfaction in our life. This is the biggest role that religion can play to cultivate that mind. On the other hand, through the influence of mental vibrations and mental energy, many other changes also take place in this world. Not only human minds or animals' minds, or devas or spirits or ghosts life. Nature. What is nature? when elements and energies harmonize, cooperate according to their degrees or gravity, things can run smoothly, like rain and heat, wind, and the season. There are so many things behind, unknown to us, but we never realized how our human mind, mental vibration influence those elements, energies, cosmic energies, to change, to create some sort of disturbances, then imbalance of those elements and energies take place. Mental vibration. When you study the real nature of mental energy, we can understand this. Otherwise, you may think this is impossible. Even without depending on religion. Few years ago, in Russia, where people have no religions, wanted to test this mental energy, how far they can extend these energies, vibration, to see the effects. And communicate. One human mind to another human mind. One person in Moscow, another person in Leningrad. You know how far from Moscow to Leningrad? Very far. These two have developed their psychic power to transmit their mental waves, mental vibrations. So they were communicating their thoughts and record. After that, they meet and found out correct. How they catch their mental vibration, just like catching wavelengths, radio, short waves, medium waves, exactly in the same way. And this is the development of jhana meditation. Those days they gained through religion. But even without depending on religion, those who know how to deal with the mind, they can make use of this mental energy. And there are some others who keep a piece of iron rod somewhere there in the compound and go on radiating mental energy toward that iron rod. And this piece of iron twists. Mental vibration. No one can deny it. This is a minor incident for us to understand how our human mind can change the atmosphere, rain, the heat, the wind, the storm. Mental vibration contribute a lot because they are also energies. This is also energy. So when all these energies mix up together, then create lot of disturbances. This is also mentioned in the Buddha's teaching, how changes take place in those natural occurrences. When the human mind is polluted and completely poisoned, the hatred, anger, jealousy, grudge and greed and selfishness, wickedness, cruelty, all these forces completely pollute the purity of the atmosphere. What is happening in this world? Why people suddenly start to slaughter others for nothing? Even the so-called Buddhist countries, that means they use religion only for the namesake. And Hindus, Christians, Muslims, they slaughter others for nothing, innocent people. Hatred, wickedness, cruelty, jealousy, anger. These are the things that are going on, boiling, day and night. Then completely change the whole world system. Now this is more than enough for us to understand how human mind can influence the whole world. I think better to stop without spoiling the whole world, radiating. The more we shout, the more we spoil. Akasattha Bhummattha Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkhantu Lokasasanang Devo Asatu Kalena Sassa Sampatti Hetu Ca Pito Bhavatu Loko Ca Raja Bhavatu Dhammiko Idang Ojati Nam Hotu Sukhita Hontu Nyatayo Imina Punya Kammena Mami Bala Samagamo Satang Samagamo Hotu Yava Nibbana Pattiya.